Oh, no, no, no. Troll in the dungeon! Oh. Sorry. Anyway, welcome back to the Bug Think Tank, guys. For another rapid fire comic book review. Today, well, this was a pretty dull week for comics, honestly, I think you just saw. Uh, um, and I think I just probably picked a bad bunch. I mean, I pretty much read the same stuff monthly to weekly. Couple surprises here and there that I pick, but for the most part, no. This was kind of dull. So let's get into it. First, we have Detective Comics 1009. So this issue was, I think, sort of the beginning of how bored I was. Actually, what's weird is this was the last comic I read this week. Um, You're the Villain seems to want to really kick off, I think, properly with DC. The problem is this wasn't really, I think, an issue that wanted to do it because You're the Villain for Detective Comics seems to be Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is a great choice. All right, Mr. Freeze has wands that Lex can exploit, and we can mess around with that. This probably does do that. The problem is, Mr. Freeze is in like the last 2 pages of this story. Overall, this is mostly about Deadshot being hired to shoot Bruce Wayne, which I think he believes will be easier than shooting Batman. But in my experience, it's harder to kill Bruce Wayne than it is Batman. I mean, just from what I've seen as a comic book reader, what do you guys think that is? Leave a reason down in the comment section why you think for some reason it's harder to kill Bruce Wayne than it is to kill Batman. I just don't know. Overall, there was some really good humor here, especially in the beginning, when we see Alfred and Bruce's dynamic, which has always been fun to explore. There's a moment when early, like the first couple pages of this book, where Alfred's talking to Bruce as his Batman, and going like, "Master Bruce, you know you have that thing in the morning, right? That thing you have to do at Wayne Enterprises. Like it's a big deal. You got to do it." Bruce is like, "I'm Batman, beating up criminals. I'm Batman." And he's like, "I got this." He comes home like, "Ace, my Bat Hound. There we go." And it's 6:05 when he finally gets to bed, and his alarm goes off at 6:07. And Alfred goes, "Rise and shine, Master Bruce." And Bruce is like, "I'll kill you, Alfred. I'll kill you." And Alfred's like, "I have it on good authority that the Batman does not kill." And Bruce is like, "I'm pretty sure he'll make an exception." And there's also this really sort of fun idea that Bruce pays a lot of attention. He does care a bit about Wayne Enterprise and the direction it goes, which I think most stories don't really show that. It sort of implies, at least it shows to me, that for most readers, the idea is like, okay, well, Bruce just uses Wayne Enterprises to fund Batman. Well, he does care a lot about where Wayne Enterprises goes and what effect it has on the city. In this case, he is still going to attend an energy conference in China. And he wants Wayne Enterprise to be at the forefront of developing newer, cleaner energy. And his issue is he's sort of bored with how Lucius Fox is presenting it, but he knows it's important. Like, no, it's important. Lucius' speech just bored me. That's it. But from a story standpoint, it feels like nothing of any real merit happens. Because we know it's Mr. Freeze that's coming. So what is Deadshot doing here other than wasting my time? At least that's how I felt. Flash 76. This is hot off of Flash Year 1. This is, when Steadfast tells Barry, like, "Look, Barry, I had to tell you about this secret history that your first year that you forgot about because Dr. Manhattan did a thing," and we're still not entirely sure if DC is acknowledging Dr. Manhattan for the most part outside of Doomsday Clock, because that was a big deal before, but now it's not, I guess. So what he's done, what Barry's doing now, in addition to rebuilding the Flash Museum, he's pretty much created a Flash Cave, although he calls it a Flash Lab, a Speed Lab, where they can study the Speed Force, and he's taken 2 other people with him. He's taken Wallace. Wallace is the other nephew of Iris. Like, I always quite forget exactly how the relationship works, what their familiar bond is. And Avery, who was the Flash of China for the Justice League of China book. And it's weird that she's the holdover from that. But anyway, they all look good. There's this idea that, okay, Barry has to open up. He has to be willing to work with people. It's interesting that Bruce and Barry are sort of the same people when it comes to opening up. And it seems that Wallace himself seems to be holding a bit of a grudge against Barry too, over the whole not telling him stuff. And as I've been reading more of the Flash and Rebirth, I've noticed that sort of to be a bit of a trend. And Wallace is also like super suspicious of Barry. Like, you're just being nice to me so you can get back with my own Iris. I'm like, well, first of all, continuity overrules you, Wallace. You know, you can go anytime. We can go anytime. But Barry said, look, I'll talk to your Aunt Iris when we're ready to talk. When she and I are ready to talk, we'll talk. It's got nothing to do with you. Um, but what he points out, why the reason he brought them all here is because there's another big issue in that they're getting slower. And it turns out, yeah, all the Flashes are bad at sharing important stuff. Like, none of them felt it was important to tell each other that, hey, I've been getting slower. I've been getting slower. I'm not as fast as I used to be. I was faster yesterday and the day before. Now I'm getting slower. It turns out that during Flash War, when Barry and Wally broke everything, they brought all those other forces, the Strength Force, the Sage Force, the Still Force, all of it's out and about, and it's offsetting the Speed Force. So they got to find some way to fix that. So how they do it? Well, that entire thing has been removed from the equation when Black Flash shows up, which is weird because I thought Black Flash would have been Wallace, but no, Black Flash is Death, and this guy is, well, it's just the Flash in a black costume. Although I'm not sure. I want to say it's the Black Racer, which is supposed to be Death. It's a physical manifestation of Death, and it's super fast. Barry's barely been able to outrun him. So that's cool. He comes in and he kills Steadfast. So I'm like, okay, okay, okay. My problem was is that even as someone who's been reading Flash up to this point, I didn't quite feel that. I felt like we were sort of missing an in between story. Maybe a moment with Wallace and Avery should have worked, or maybe this is just an example of why I should have just been reading Flash from the start. I just don't know. Wonder Woman 76. Wonder Woman has been a book I've been in and out of. I think more than I think any other book, because I'm never quite sure if I like it or not. And I've just started getting back into Aquaman slowly. And the state of Wonder Woman now is sort of why I originally had a video plan I wanted to work on discussing Wonder Woman, and I felt that one of the big things was it was a certain air of repetitiveness to it, and I always felt that Wilson would have ended her run the same way Rucka did. So there's an adventure, we go to find Themyscira, we can't find Themyscira, the day is saved, and knowing that at some point her lariat, her golden lasso will break, I'm like, well, it's just going to be the end of Rucka's run. Turns out it might not be that way because, bare minimum, she found Themyscira. She's opened up a portal back and forth to Themyscira. So, points to Wilson for that. It's how that happened. It ties very much into what she did at first when she came out of the book, with Ares convincing Grail, "Kill me, Grail," and he comes back to life. Like, it creates sort of a paradox. It unbalances the whatever barrier there is separating Themyscira from the rest of the world, and by returning Antiope's sword, it sort of helped thread a sort of connection to the two worlds. So now Diana can go back and forth too. And what's really cool, and I think very important about Diana's character, is the first thing she does when she gets there. The first thing she does when she gets to man's world is says, "I have to find Veronica Cale." Now, Veronica Cale is, if you were compared to a Superman villain, she'd be Lex Luthor. She actually is very much Lex Luthor, but she's a different kind of Lex Luthor. Where I think Lex is very motivated by the idea that, he sees Superman as a threat to humanity. I think Cale sees Diana as a threat to her. And that's because Cale is a self-made woman. She's overcome a lot. She's raised into a great deal of power. Like Lex, she does feel she should be viewed as an example for other people to follow. Diana comes and threatens that. But also in the same manner, the events involving her daughter Isadora, or Izzy, has led to her being forced to live on Themyscira for pretty much ever since Diana arrived on Man's World, if not before. Well, after. And what made that interesting was that it sort of helped create a wedge between Diana and Veronica and Wonder Woman. So that was cool. So the first thing Diana does is like, "Veronica, come with me. We're going to go see your daughter." And it was cool, even more so when Veronica's still not ready. Still not ready to let all this go. Says, "We're still not friends." And she says, "I know, we're enemies. We're always going to be enemies. But right now, let's go see your daughter." And they do. They have a really tearful reunion. It's actually really beautiful. Maybe could have been longer, but you can't always get what you want. And then, well, the year of the villain idea kicks in with Cheetah. Cheetah has taken the Godslayer sword. And it's weird because I could have sworn that she already had something to kill gods in Justice League. But this God Killer sword has been around since New 52. Hephaestus made it. Um, I forget why Hephaestus made it. New 52 Hephaestus is sort of like, screw the gods, which includes me. Someone hires Deathstroke to kill a god and gives him the sword for it. And that sword sort of like ends up going around and around and around. Now Cheetah has it, and she uses it to kill Aphrodite, which I think is I think it's supposed to be some symbolism to that. The fact that Cheetah's first act is to kill love, or at least the goddess of love. But yeah, that for the most part was it with Wonder Woman. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays off, and hopefully we'll be at the point where I'll feel like, maybe we should talk about Wonder Woman more often. Doubt it. Who knows? I still need to work on that Wonder Woman video though. And finally, we Powers of X issue 2 have Powers of 10, or Powers of X as people still call it. In an interview, Hickman said it wasn't an X; it was supposed to be 10, but whatever. For me, this sort of shows exactly what I'm more interested in, because Powers of X/10 has always been told about like 3 different perspectives. There's current day, there's further ahead, there's way further ahead. And I don't really care about further ahead, way further ahead. All right, what I really care about is the Charles and Magneto talk with Moira McTaggart. I love that. I love Krakoa coming up to the forefront and exactly what that means, because that's really interested me. And this one here is sort of Charles and Magneto coming together to pretty much, this is how they got to the point of House of X issue 1, which is fine. The idea that Moira comes up and says, like, look, I have seen this multiple times, all right? Charles's plans fail, Magneto's plans fail. Each time you two work on opposite sides, it never works. So maybe, just maybe, you two should work together. And she and Charles present the idea to Magneto. Magneto's like, look, I will not. I'm going to acquiesce to your weakness. I'm not doing any of that. I will be me. And if I think you're faltering, I will stand right up there and I will do what needs to be done. And Charles like, I'm counting on it. They shake hands. It's cool. We get a bigger reveal as to exactly what Mystique stole. Turns out it was information on another group of anti-mutant supporters, and they're going to make super Sentinels, not like regular Sentinels. Although if you go by X-Men comics, like Sentinels, like to make a bigger, better Sentinel, I think would have to be a Gundam at this point, because Sentinels just love to get better and kill mutants. Like, dear God. Anyway, actually, I would personally like to read an anti-mutant book, like a book from the perspective of those that just don't like mutants. Like, sit them down and talk. Has that been an X-Men story yet? I'd like to see that. But anyway, Charles put Cyclops in on this, and Cyclops has been wanting to be redeemed ever since Uncanny X-Men, when he killed Professor X. Avengers vs. X-Men when he killed Professor X. And then in Uncanny X-Men, he wanted to be redeemed because everyone hated him because he killed Professor X. Even young Jean Grey and young Scott hated Cyclops. Like, oh, I become a jerk. Jean's like, I married a jerk. And then she found out that, he cheated on her with Emma Frost. It was terrible. I felt so sorry for young Scott Summers. Everyone blamed him for stuff he didn't even do yet. And so now he's been put on the task of dealing with this anti-mutant Sentinel program before it gets out of control. Although we know going on, 1,000 years later, when Apocalypse is leading the X-Men of all things, they're still going to be fighting this project. So that was interesting, but still, the Krakoa stuff, the Charles, the Magneto, the Nightcrawler, the Cyclops, the Moira, the Mystique, those characters are what interests me more than what's going to happen 1,000 years in the future. I don't care that Wolverine's still going to be there. I don't. I'd like to know how many people actually do care that Wolverine's still going to be there. But anyway, with that in mind, we'll bring this video to close here. So, yeah, I'm actually kind of glad there wasn't a lot to do here, because I really would like to finally get started on some of those other projects that I talked about when I talked about the future of the Bucket Think Tank. So I may be doing the next one's a rapid fire review too, just to free myself up. But anyway, like I said, we'll bring this video to a close here. If you're new to the Bug Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, smash that thumbs up button, and I will catch you all later. This is the Bug Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching, and as always, may your fandom serve you well.